Good morning. Monday, February 22nd, 2021. And it is pouring snow. Another beautiful day here in DC area. Anywho, so many messages. If any of you that have sight, you can see that everything is closer to the surface now. All these light beings and starships and everything are just like so close. I'm like, I just want to reach up and touch. Anyway, one of the messages that has come through is what I was given the name of spiritual black ice. So we all know what black ice is. It's that the road looks normal, but it actually has a film of ice and it's deadly. So if your car hits it, there's no rubber on the road. You're out of control. If your feet hit it, you usually wind up on your back. And a lot of deaths and injuries occur with black ice. And it's super apparent right now in my area because we're in heavy winter. And winter has decided that, hey, I was mild to you guys the last couple years, but this one, we're going to get you a little bit. So anywho, let's talk about that spiritual black ice. So many of us in the last year have been searching for so much more information. And I'm really talking about those who are awakened or sparked to awaken. And there's so much information out there. And some of it's correct, some of it's not correct, some of it's in between correct, but there's never one way. This is not a one-way street, one-way avenue into spirituality. There are billions of mini paths, big roads, highways to get to where you want to go. But when we begin to listen to a lot of people and then we follow them consistently and begin to believe that they are the end-all be-all, that's when you're hitting a little bit of black ice, because there are other facets and information out there that we can take in and sift through and process and have our discernment to understand if this is feeling right for me. But then we don't want to get caught up in going out of ourselves and gathering until we're slipping and sliding every which direction that it's just mind-boggling. Because the human brain wants to put everything in logic, wants to put everything in order. That's the ego. That's the analytical side. Okay? Nothing wrong with that in many ways. Nothing wrong with that. The ego and the spiritual right brain side, the high heart, they all have to work together for survival. So anyone that says, oh, I got to get rid of that ego, is taking you down a path that isn't correct. So the ego is what tells you to get out of the way of a speeding car coming at you. The ego tells you a lot of different things, but this is not what this video is about. The ego has been trained in us to live by that left makes sense brain. But creativity, spirituality, artisticness, sensuality, all those things are not there in that compartment. So learning how to override that and get in touch with what resonates, got to get into that other areas that create harmonious feelings and move throughout our day in those levels of feelings of things resonate and they're moving smoothly. So spiritual black ice is when we start getting all this information and everything's coming at us and At some point, we're like, but wait a second, this isn't. Step back. Get out of the spin. Take a break. Ask yourself, is that person really making sense? I don't care if half my friends are following that person. Does that person really make sense? Does it really resonate with me? Or are they pulling crap out of a hat? You know, there's just a lot of stuff. For example, one of the prime examples is there's a handful of people right now that are saying, you know, I was a money counter for the government and I traveled around with money and therefore I have all this intel. And then there's other ones that are like, I am a retired CIA person and I have all this intel. And okay, are they really getting that intel? And then if you really got that intel, are you actually going to post it out there that someone's not going to look back and figure out who is sneaking secrets to you? So a lot of people are getting caught up in that side of it. And that side of it, again, is that left brain analytical, what's happening in this moment and who's predicting what's happening moving forward and who has the purest sources of intel. My understanding is when you leave these abbreviated companies, you're never really out. You're out, but you're locked out and you don't have clearance, first off, to information. You just don't. And those who do have clearance that you left behind after you left that company are sworn not to tell information. And that's the way it goes. So all of that stuff isn't spirituality. It isn't that stuff trying to figure out what's really happening here on the surface, when really what we need to do is tap into our own heart and our own high heart. And how do we incorporate everything that's going on here on the surface in the environment of the earth? And how do we discern all the things that we've been taught and told and indoctrinated with? And it looks like everyone else seems to believe the same thing. But you're thinking, I don't know that I follow that so much now. And then having the courage to step up and say, that's not my faith. That's not my belief system. Nobody quite has it 100%. So how do I harmonize myself to live in my divine source, creator of all, in that consciousness, and open myself up to the inner parts of me that have all the DNA information and get that activated? And the only way to activate things is to step away from all the intel that's coming from everybody else. And get in tune with you and what makes sense for you, not what made sense for the way your parents raised you, or what a spouse's belief system is, or what your neighbor's belief system is to honestly be your own person, be your own individual God source walking on the surface of this earth. And ask yourself and your higher self and all the guides that came in to be with you during this lifetime to assist you with information. And then start journaling it down. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Get into the feeling of it. And if things aren't lifting your vibrations, they need to be put on hold. Don't just pause them. Put them on hold. And maybe delete them from interfering with your connections to source. So avoid that spiritual black ice where you're slipping and sliding all over everybody else's information. Put yourself in a safe zone and ask directly, Hey, God source. Hey, self. What's happening? And even with what's happening, how do you respond and react to it? So you want to be calm. You want to have love in your heart. You want to have hope. You want to have peace. You want to have all the things that our birthright is here to be, without others dictating our lives. And we may think we live in a country of freedom, but we don't. We're dictated at every corner. And we're placed in how do we survive versus thrive, period. So while we're trying to figure out and maneuver our ways around that, let's avoid that black ice and let's go within and let's talk to our God self and find a place that the frequencies can harmonize and information can come in and out more freely. So that's your divine birthright. It's not in a book. It's not in a brick and mortar place of worship. It's inside of you. It's inside of you. All right? So just marinate with that a little bit. Just marinate with it. Just be with it. You don't need to tell other people what you're doing. Just work on realigning your connections, getting plugged in more securely, and feeling that lightness and possibilities of things may be very different than the way they've been handed down to you. All right? So much love and light to each and every one of you. Please like, subscribe, share. Love nice messages. And until the next video, which I think is going to be a good bit, there's no hair and makeup chair on these days. It just has to come out one way or the other. I'll do my best to translate it through the vibrations that I get. All right? Have a wonderful day.